Today we are unveiling the power of the Essential Makeup Palette. And I started this last week. We kicked this off. We talked all about how to choose your foundation, how to find the right shade of foundation, which can often be a tricky endeavor. Whether you are shopping in person or you are shopping online, finding your ideal shade match for foundation, one that matches your skin tone and your undertone. I gave you some tips and tricks for that. We also talked about how to find your right blush shade, which I got so many responses from that because I gave you a rather, let's just say I said it was a PG-13 rated tip for how to find your best blush shade. If you missed that, you can go check out my live training from last Thursday, part 1 of Unveiling the Power of the Essential Makeup Palette. But I got so many flushed selfies from you. Thank you for that. That was a lot of fun. That was a real treat. But it works. Taking a selfie of you with your naturally flushed shade, that is your best shade of blush. So I got a lot of those selfies this week. That was really, really fun. And we also we started delving into contour, your contour shade. Now, when I talk about contour, that's when I notice that people start to get a little bit nervous. Like, oh, you're gonna make me look like a clown. And so we dispelled that last week when we started talking about contour and the purpose of your contour shade. But first, before we dive into part 2 of Unveiling the Power of the Essential Makeup Palette, I am Selena Beasley and I'm here to welcome you. I am your makeup coach. I teach women in online business how to do their makeup like a professional so that they can show up as the face of their brand on camera, looking the part of their success. I always like to kick things off with the camera ready cross check. The ABCs to a camera ready look. The A is your camera angle. So I am looking at my phone angle. Let me bring that down just a little bit. I want to fill the frame. Okay, so I want to be like eye level or just above looking at you. So it's almost as if you and I are exchanging inspiration and ideas across from each other at a coffee shop. I don't want to be looking down at you. I don't want to be looking up at you. I want to be looking kind of just right on. So that's first. That's the A, your camera angle. B is your blend. So I want to check my blush, make sure that this is blended. My eyeshadow, you may notice that it was 8 minutes till, and I had a completely blank face. For those of you that are like, I don't have time to do my makeup, trust me, if you have 5 minutes, you can pull it together. So I'm gonna blend my eyeshadow a little bit because I did this in a hurry. Typically I'll do this camera ready cross check before I turn my camera on, but I find that when I'm teaching you how to do your makeup, that it's actually helpful for you to see me do this cross check. So you can do it before you turn your camera on. So the B is your blend, making sure that, we've got no lip liner or eyeliner and any weird spots. C is your color contrast. If you are, coming in from maybe an everyday makeup look and you've got on a neutral lip, you want to dial up the contrast on that. You want to make it a little bit brighter, create a little bit more of a focal point for your face. And we're going to talk about that today and how you can be strategic in choosing your lipstick shade. You could do it with intention. I chose like a berry red. I wanted to go a little bit bolder today because I'm teaching and I want to attract attention to the source of my message. So I went with a berry shade. And finally the S, ABCs, ABCS, your shine. So I was coming in hot from chasing my 5-year-old around the yard, and I've got a little bit of shine. And so the S is for shine. You're gonna wanna take a little bit of just translucent powder and just brush that over the zones of your face that tend to get a little bit shiny. And the reason why we do this is because on camera, and I specialize in teaching makeup for the camera, when you have shine on your face, it tends to scatter the light. We want to absorb that light. We don't want to scatter it. So we want to take care of that shine. We also don't want to look like we're sweating, because then that sends the message that we're nervous. And I'm not nervous, but I don't want to appear that I'm nervous because I have a shiny, sweaty looking face. Okay. Without any further ado, this is Unveiling the Power of the Essential Makeup Palette, Part 2. And I want to clarify, why is this important? Once you understand the purpose behind the shades that you choose and the psychology behind the shades that you choose, you unleash a power that boosts your influence and that creates an impression on the other person on the other side of the lens. Okay, so this is Essential Makeup Shade number 4. If you missed 1 through 3, go back to last week's training and you can catch that. This is your contour shade. I did explain that contour is not exclusive to just your cheeks. You know, we tend to just think it's kind of this like number 3 thing here. It's not limited to that. Contour is creating dimension and definition using the natural lines of your face, your eyes, your eyebrows, your cheekbones, your lips. So contour is an intentional approach that you take to all of these areas of your face. But cheeks are the most, that's the question that I get asked the most, is how do I contour? How do I apply contour to my cheeks? And because I was in a hurry, like I said, I didn't do my makeup but 8 minutes before this live, I did not contour. So now I get to do it with you. When it comes to choosing your contour shade, this is what you need to know. If you have ivory or beige, an ivory or a beige skin tone, you're gonna want to choose a contour shade, a neutral contour shade that is 1 to 2 shades deeper than your natural skin tone. Now the same is true if you have brown or bronze skin tone. However, you want to be a little bit more mindful if you have a bronze skin tone of choosing a shade that is a little bit more of like a golden, like a warmer neutral shade rather than, say if you have ivory skin, you're going to choose more of like a taupe. So you'll see like I have like this taupe shade that I'm going to show you. But this, a taupe, like kind of a cooler neutral shade on a bronze skin tone, that tends to make that skin tone look a little bit more ashy. And so you want to choose like a more warm and golden tone. But I have just a neutral, taupe. You can use a designated contour product, or one workaround is you can use just a neutral eyeshadow. You can use a matte eyeshadow in a taupe or like a latte. And again, if you have a deeper skin tone, you're going to want to choose, a deeper sort of like a cocoa shade, or just something that's a little bit warmer. And I know we're talking about makeup shades, but I can't really divorce the color choice from the application. So I'm going to show you how I do this because I didn't apply it on myself today because I didn't have time. So here's surefire way to find your cheekbone. I'm gonna give you a little cheek. I know everyone's like, I know exactly where my cheekbone is. Maybe not necessarily the one that you want to contour. We want to identify the right placement, okay? So I want you to take your thumb. Yeah, the thumb's gonna go here. And I want you to feel this bone, okay? Along the side, along on your cheek. And I want you to take your middle finger right up here at the top of your ear, okay? And I want you to just bring these 2 fingers together. Let them meet here, okay? This bone, that is the cheekbone that we want to complement. Oftentimes I see contour brought down here into the hollow of the face. we want to think a little bit higher. If we contour this area, that's when your face can look a little bit too harsh, and the contour can look, it can actually make you look gaunt, and we don't want that. We want to create vibrancy. We don't want to create like a sickly look on our face. So try this, bringing your finger and your thumb together. This bone, now we want to hug just right where this bone begins to curve downward. That's where we want to apply our contour. And I don't want to bring it in any further than the tail of my eyebrow. So I'm just going to create a thin line. I forgot to bring a mirror in here, so I'm going to use you as my mirror. I'm going to create a thin line. Now I want you to, I haven't done the other side yet, okay? Notice the difference. Notice what happens when I contour this side of my face. Notice that it creates that shape, it creates that definition, and it creates lift. Can you see the difference on that side? I haven't blended it, okay, versus this side. You apply first and then you blend. So I'm going to apply this side too. Not going to go further than the tail end of my eyebrow. And again, this contour should hug your blush shade. It shouldn't be like blush contour. It should almost like, you know what I mean by like an ombre effect? It should blend into one another, okay? So I haven't blended, but look at the definition that creates. Now I am going to go back, and with my blending brush, I am going to blur those lines. Again, I don't want to rub too hard because I don't want it to come off, but I do want to blur the line. Okay, so you notice it's just a neutral taupe shade, 2 shades deeper than my natural skin tone, but the definition that creates is worth the extra trouble, especially when you are on camera. So, makeup palette shade number 5 for your essential shade collection is your highlighter. Your highlighter, this is going to illuminate your complexion on the high points of your face. So remember how we located our cheekbone? We kind of did the little, that bit, and we hugged the bottom side of our cheekbone with our contour. Well, you're just going to do the same thing with your highlighter up here. Got a little bit of highlighter left on my brush here, so I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to kind of do it in this area. And this is where you want to have an understanding of your skin's undertone. If you do not know what your skin's undertone is, I encourage you to go to SelenaBeasley.co, and in my freebie section, I have a quiz. It's a skin undertone quiz, and it's a simple 1-minute quiz, 5 questions, and you can find out once and for all, what is your skin undertone? This is going to help you narrow down the colors that are best for you. For example, when you're choosing your highlight shade, and this is just a light neutral shade that is going to highlight the high points of your face, your brow bone, your cheekbone, your forehead, your nose, your chin, okay, the high points. But if I'm choosing a highlight shade and I have a warm undertone to my skin, I am going to want to go with more golden shades. Whereas if I have a cool undertone, I'm going to want to choose more silver, pearl, like pearl tones shade, because that's going to bring out my cool undertones. So having an idea of your skin undertone influences all of your color choices, but this is one way this can influence your highlight choice. One workaround you can use for your highlight shade, because often highlight shades are they come in like a shiny, shimmery, and I remember I explained to you that we want to avoid shimmer, we want to avoid shine on camera. So you want to go with your matte makeup palette so that you don't scatter the light. But a lot of times highlight is if you put on a highlight that is shimmery, you're going to look sweaty. And again, we want to avoid that. So one workaround with that is you can use a matte eyeshadow. And finally, your makeup palette essential shade number 6. is your lipstick. I teach an entire masterclass on lipstick because lipstick ties together your whole look. Lipstick creates a focal point for your viewer. It adds excitement. It adds personality. You want to infuse your personality, your vibe, your style with the mood and the vibe of your audience, and you can do that for your lipstick shade. The whole point of putting together, of understanding the purpose of these different colors and the impact that they have, is to create an impression on our viewer. And so your lipstick choice, you have a powerful opportunity with your lipstick choice to create an impression on your viewer and to infuse your personality into that. Is if you are interested in diving into the intention and the deeper impact of your color choices and the psychology behind your color choices, then I encourage you to get into my private Facebook group. Thank you very much for joining us today. Again, if you want to come into my private community where we can dive a little bit deeper, just comment community and I will send you that invitation to join us. And thanks for being with us today.